So hi.
Hi,
So what's your name?
my name is Abhay.
Nice. So we're here in Bangalore, India. So what's it like being vegan in India?
It's pretty fun. There is a strong vegan community in Bangalore, and I absolutely love how everyone is so committed about the movement. And I find a lot of passionate activists here, and I just love hanging out with them. So it's fun.
What type of activism do you do?
I run a network called Vegania. So we do protests, we do marches, we do banner display campaigns. I lecture in schools and colleges about veganism, and we used to do standalone leafleting campaigns before. Now we just supplement our existing campaigns with leafleting, and we do all sorts of creative events Okay, I'll just repeat that. And we enter into all sorts of creative avenues that we can get into, and we go to college fests and campaign for veganism there, and yeah, that's broadly what we do.
What type of response have you had from the public when you do your campaigns?
We have a lot of amazing response, largely from the youth, and although we do find that a lot of people are interested in hearing about what we have to say, particularly when we have more eye-catching campaigns, then a lot of people are interested in listening to what we have to tell them. And we usually supplement our campaigns with showing people gory pictures and videos of what actually happens in slaughterhouses and dairy farms. And people usually are more interested in listening after they've seen the horrors behind the animal product industry. So the response has been pretty good.
What do you think is the best way to promote veganism?
I believe talking to the youth and getting them to be activists as well is one of the fastest ways to achieve our goals.
You said you go to schools and you do talks. So what gives you the courage to stand up to so many people?
I've always loved being on stage. As a kid, I used to sing on the stage a couple of times. So the courage of being on stage was something that was already there by the time I started talking about veganism. And I just love talking to a lot of people on the stage, and I just love how people are paying attention and when you see your audience is turning around and realizing that animals have equal moral value as humans do, that's what keeps me going.
What advice do you have for people that want to get active in the vegan community?
I would recommend that they get in touch with someone who already is active, spend some time with them, hang out with them, learn how they would do effective activism, and then just go about and do it. I think a lot of people largely just wait for the right opportunity to campaign, but I think the right opportunity is there every day, and you're just supposed to go out and campaign. That would be the best way, and the best way to actually become more effective is to campaign more. Yeah. So just participate in all the events you can.
What do you think about applying intersectionality into veganism?
I believe it's really important to have a pro-intersectional stance in the animal rights movement, because if we are to make a coherent stance against oppression, that's what we're trying to do, then it must be against all forms of oppression. Often I see a lot of vegans who say, hey, speciesism is a bigger concern than most other forms of oppression, but I do not think it's an Olympic meet where you determine who gets to be addressed first. It's rather something that you tackle all at once. And so as a network, we participate in other events. We participate in events with other causes, like we participated in the Bangalore Pride March that happened in November last year. And we try to be good allies to other causes, and then unite and then make a stance against all forms of oppression in a united way.
What do you think is a good way to be an ally?
I believe participating in events, helping people organize events, and particularly not antagonizing your allies, and by just saying, if they're doing a campaign for LGBT rights, you don't go and say, hey, don't do this, let's do an animal rights thing. I believe that's the wrong way to go about things. I believe we must first be good allies and then participate in events. That's what I'd recommend.
So do you think anyone can be vegan?
I believe that there are some people who are in a position to not be vegan, like people with eating disorders or people who cannot afford expensive vegan options. But I believe society in general and a large population can be vegan easily.
You have a vegan business.
Yes.
So what is that business and where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
My business is named Veganarchy. We aim to manufacture inexpensive plant-based alternatives to animal products. Usually vegan products are expensive, and that kind of gives out the idea that the movement is an elitist movement. And we aim to contest that trend by having really inexpensive products that everyone can afford. In the next 10 years, I hopefully will be taking Veganarchy to a big scale where you'd find vegan products in mainstream markets and retail stores and even the local shops that you find in every neighborhood. Hopefully that's where we'd like to be in the next 10 years.
Why did you become vegan?
I went vegan because I was inspired by my parents to do so. They showed me why consuming animal products was wrong, and I decided, my sister and I decided to go vegan on the 1st of January 2011, and it was our New Year resolution, and it stuck.
Do you have any tips and advice for people that want to go vegan?
I would just ask them to do it and not wait for the right circumstances, because that's what everyone says, but it's just an excuse and not any valid reason. I would just ask them to jump into it and then get involved with the local vegan community as soon as they can, because I believe moral support is important if you are to stay vegan in a society that is so hostile towards vegans. And then just get campaigning for animal rights. That's when everything works out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.